Hiya, it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today we are going to be making this card. Now I made this for you and it's actually going to be one of my photo posts, but I thought it would be fun to make it in Halloween colours. So let's get going. Okay, so the first thing that I've got is I cut a piece of the Whisper White card into a square of 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, and we are going to stamp straight onto that first of all, and then we're going to worry about the actual card base itself. Now I have got here Blackberry Bliss, which is a gorgeous colour from the In Colour collection of last year, and I've also got Tangelo Twist as well, which is also from the same collection. Now I may or may not use the Tangelo, we'll see how we go on that one. So the stamp set that we're going to be using is this gorgeous work of art stamp set. I really love this. So the first stamp that we're going to do is this lovely little swoosh here. So we're going to take my swoosh and I'm going to just get my Blackberry Bliss here. I'm going to ink that up, make sure it's nicely inked like so. I'm going to then just 1, 2 and then 3. And look at that, doesn't that look just gorgeous? Really think that looks amazing, the difference that it makes when you have the inking off like that. Okay, so now we need our next stamp. Now this one is going to be going kind of here. Whoops, I went the wrong way. So I want it to go kind of like so. There. And then we're going to take that, and then again we're just going to take my Blackberry here, and for this one I'm just going to go straight on. I'm not going to stamp off at all, like so. And it just makes such a difference in the colour tones. I like the fact that you get the different colour tones all from one ink pad. I think that just looks amazing. Okay, and then the last sort of bigger piece from here that we want is this one here, which is kind of like a square. Okay, and then we're going to ink that up, just making sure it's nicely inked, and then again just move that over a minute, and then I'm just going to 1, and then I'm going to come over here. So on the first one we did 2 ink offs, the second one we did none, and this time we did it just once. So hopefully that will give us 3 different tones in theory, which it has, and I think that's come out really nicely. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so that's those 3 done. Now for the next part, I want some dots and things. What I was going to do was try and use the orange, and let's just, so it's not too kind of straight, and then we're going to pop that there like so. And I just thought the orange there, just a little of the orange would be quite nice. And then again and this time I'm going to stamp off slightly just to see if we can get a little bit of a lighter colour coming through. There we go. I think that looks really nice. just brings a little bit of something extra there. I don't want to do any more orange on the stamping at all. That's the only the Tangelo Twist there is the only part of the orange that I want to do. And you'll see from the first card that I did that I didn't do any of this another colour at all. So now we're going to the second sort of dotty stamp here, and I'm just gonna take that and again just rub away certain parts just to make it look so it's not too kind of uniform. And I think that's going to be a little bit too big, so let's just take a little bit more off there. Okay, and then we'll just pop that one about there. I think that looks good. Just taking a little on here, just stamping off a small amount on there, and I just want to add a tiny bit just down here like so. I'm just going to add a little heart, and I'm going to use the Blackberry Bliss again, but and then I'm just going to pop that down there like so and lift that up, and I actually think it makes it look really nice as well. Okay, so next we need to do our sentiment. So I've got the U here, and I've also got the just for, so we can use that. Now I need a little bit of white, so I've got some white for my just you for you. So first of all we're going to stamp the just for, and I'm going to do that in the Tangelo Twist. I just think it would look nice to have that in that contrast. And then just put that down. I'm going to put it like so. There we go. That's better. And I think just having it stamped off, it just brings out the orange a little bit more rather than it being just really dark all the time. And I think that looks a lot better. Okay, and then the next thing I need to do is my U part, but that is going onto my stamped element here, and I'm going to do that using my embossing. So I've got here some perfect medium, and I also have my powder so that we make sure we don't get any finger marks on anything. Okay, and then I've got some gold embossing powder. So first things first, let's put a little bit of powder just over the top here. Okay, and then we want my perfect medium. So I've got my U, and then I've got my perfect medium. So it's nicely sticky. And then we're just going to pop that just about there, like so. And then you can't really see it until, let's put the lid on here, and then I do need my little, I have a little piece of card here, and then I just pop on top my embossing powder, making sure that it, and you can see that because we used the powder first, there's not one drop of the embossing powder anywhere that it shouldn't be. So then we just get my heat gun, and then I like to heat from above and below. So let's bring you in nice and close so you can see what happens. But it's got that beautiful shimmer going on there. Okay, so that's that bit done. Now the one thing I do, so we'll put that to one side for the moment. So I think we finished with all of our stamping. I do want to now just cut out my sentiment here, and I've got here my little cuttlebug. So then we've got our A plate, our rubber mat, our B plate, our piece of paper with our just for that was stamped on it, and then I need to get my dies, which I love these. These are one of my favourite set of dies for tags. So I'm going to take this one here and see how that comes out. Okay, so just taking that and getting a little bit of tape. Okay, so that's just stuck that down, and then we're going to take the other B plate, just pop that across the top, and then run this through the machine. Like so. Let's just move our little bug out the way. Okay, let's peel this off, and then pop that out, and there we have our tab ready to go. And that, so now we need to put our card together, which is really simple to do. It's not very difficult. So all we need to do is take our trimmer, and then I've got two pieces of card. I've got the Blackberry Bliss and the Tangelo Twist, and I'm going to take a piece of my Blackberry Bliss. Now the original piece here was 4.5 by 4.5, so we're going to cut this at 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. So that's one done, and then that will sit like so. And then we are going to take our Tangelo Twist, and it's going to be cut at 5 inches by 10, and then just folding that flap over and taking our score tool, we're going to score at 5 inches like so, and then fold that over, just making sure that it's all even. And there is our card base. The next thing that I want to do is I want to take I want to put this to one side, and I want to take my 2 pieces that I've done here, and I want to take my crocodile, so I want to cut at the stub, and that's going to create just a little bit of an interest to the corner. So So you can see here just how nice that looks, I think. Oh, that was upside down, but anyway. And then we're going to do the same on our Blackberry Bliss, like so, but I'm not going to do it on my Tangelo Twist. So now I'm going to take my lovely little tape pen here, and I'm just going to run around all the edges. And I think it's easier to do this before we start adding any extra height or anything to anything, because otherwise it's just going to be much harder to sit that down. And there we go. Okay, so that's those two done, and then this needs to be added to the front of my Tangelo Twist here. So again, just using my tape pen. And I would like it to be a top folding card. I do like top folding cards, especially for squares. And then we're just gonna like so. Okay, and then on the inside I've just got this piece of white, Whisper White, that I had spare. So I thought I would just pop him on the inside, just so that they have something to write on. And although it's Halloween colours, it's not sort of Halloween to Halloween themes, so it means that you could use it for a birthday card or whatever you wanted to do. So then we've got that on the front, on the inside, and that'll look really nice. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is put on our washi tape. So I'm just gonna rip a piece there like so, and then I'm just gonna pop it sort of here. So let's just move that over a tiny bit. And then what I want is my Just For You to be kind of there. So I think that works good. Okay. And then I'm gonna just take a bit of 3D gel for my little sentiment here, and I'm just going to pop that down just about there. So it says Just For You. I think that looks really nice. And then I'm thinking on the little the little bit there, I think we'll put this lovely little gold bow. So I'll just put a tiny bit of the glue gel down there, like so, and I think that looks really effective. Okay, I'm going to take this gold wire. Now the wire comes actually already kind of wrapped for you to make it easier, so all I'm doing is I'm grabbing like a couple of pieces and pulling them around, and then again, and then again, just to make almost like this little flower. So just keep grabbing a couple until we get this kind of little flower. like so, which I think looks really effective. And then all we're going to do then is just add a tiny bit, whoops, of the adhesive, the glue gel there, and pop that down in the centre there like so. And I think that looks really effective. And then I thought for the centre of it that it would be nice to use one of these stitched brads. Now I don't obviously want to use the brad part, so I thought what I'd do is I'd just snip those pieces off. I really like, for what we're doing here, I really liked this orange piece here, and I thought that we would just take our scissors and just snip those off like so, and then that can just sit into the center of our little flower there. And then just adding a big blob of that glue gel on there, and then popping that into the center of our little sort of wire flower, really, I guess. And I'm just going to try and pull some of this around a little bit more. Okay, so that's that one done. And then the last thing really that I want to do is just add some little sequin flower stars. Now all I'm going to do with that is I'm literally just going to sprinkle them. So I've got sort of orangey red and some purple, and I've also got some gold in here as well. So I thought, you know, between those three colours we should have enough just to make it look really good. Okay, so then all I want to do now is just take my wet glue and then just literally put a tiny blob of glue and then pop that down, and that will hold those in place. Okay, just making sure there's no loose ones there, and there we go. Doesn't that look pretty? And that's it. There is our finished card. So we started off, it's surprising, isn't it, just how different actually it looks, because, you know, we started off with something that was very much how we were planning to do, exactly the same card, and yet it ends up looking completely different. So I hope you've enjoyed making this card with me. As I say, this one I will do a photo post about it as well, so you will see this one separately, and this one of course you'll see the video. So do take a look down below this video. You'll have the link to not only the post for this video, but also the post for the video for the post for this card. This card is not a video, this one is just a photo post. And also, of course, what I'll do is make sure that there's a link on the post that goes with this video to this card. Does that make sense? I hope it does. It sounds so confusing. Anyway, let's pop this one out of the way, because that isn't today's card. This is today's card. It's a Halloween card in a way, but it's meant to be a Halloween card that's just a theme, it's a gesture towards it because of the colours, and you could easily use it as a birthday card. It says just for you, so you could put inside happy birthday or whatever you want. It could be a just because card. So I tried to keep it neutral in that sense, but put the Halloween colours in it. So I hope you've enjoyed making this Stampin' Up card with me, and I would love to hear your comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.